Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be going through my kettlebell complex along with some small plyometrics to rehab my Achilles injury. This video will have the sets and reps in the video so you can follow along, and I'll also put every exercise and the duration, sets and reps in the description below. You know, I like to keep a chill flow to my workout, so I set an hour timer. Sometimes I go under, but a lot of the times I end up going a bit over. Here I'm just warming up, just getting my body ready. Some single arm hangs, just warming up my body, warming up my back, just, getting the mobility, getting the body moving. It's not always easy to do these single arms, so I'll definitely say give 2 arm hangs a try. They're great to help your posture if you're sitting down a lot. They just have so many health benefits, so I'll definitely say start with 2 arms and progress to 1. Then I normally just do 2 pull-ups, just to warm up the back before moving on to the muscle up, and then I'll do 3 to 5 dips up there and then finish with 3 to 5 pull-ups. This is just a warm-up, so we're not going too hard, but we want to make it not an easy warm-up. I like to get my work done whilst getting prepared for the session. And when I first started going to the gym, I definitely didn't start with this warm-up. So if you guys want a warm-up more accessible to beginners, let me know down in the comments and I'll definitely get that done. I keep my warm-ups pretty brief. I don't like to take up too much time before the workout, but you just gotta warm up the necessary muscles. And one of the main things I really like about kettlebells is that you really get a whole body pump. You're working your legs, but you're using your core, you're using your arms, you're using your whole body to exercise, so you're not just targeting one part of the body. So you're really training the whole body at once. So let's get into the workout. First, we're starting with kettlebell swings. I do 13 to 15 reps in one set, and this is the first exercise of the complex. I made this complex from a range of exercises that I've seen online, and the kettlebell swing I would say is the foundational kettlebell exercise, so it's a must to have at the start. One key point is that you want to have a slight knee bend, and you want to make sure that you hinge at your hips. And you don't really use your arms per se. I would say they swing with the momentum of the exercise. Next exercise we move on to is the kettlebell clean and press. This one is not easy. You need to drive up with your legs and then be able to stabilize the kettlebell at your shoulders and then be able to drive it up as explosively as possible. I do this for 5 reps on each side, making it 10 in total. And if you use a challenging enough weight, this one definitely burns. I like doing this exercise as it works both my legs and shoulders whilst also making sure my core is stabilized. A key is to make sure you are controlling both the clean and especially the press. Mastering the movements first and then moving up on the weight is the key with kettlebell exercises. Next, we have the kettlebell squat. The aim is to drive the kettlebell up to your shoulder and to keep it in the same place for the whole workout. You then want to drive down into a squat, going as far down as possible whilst maintaining the correct form and exploding back up. As it's not a barbell squat, I feel like you get extra range of motion allowing for a deeper squat. Again, on this exercise, I do 5 on each side, meaning it's 10 in total. It's not too much, but as I do multiple rounds of the workout, it's definitely not easy. Next, we have kettlebell single arm face pulls. Once again, like the rest of the single arm exercises, it's 5 on each side. I like these as they are a kind of hybrid, intermediate workout between the swings and the exercise coming up next. You want to drive the kettlebell up to face height, controlling it both on the way up and down. And the last exercise I like to do in this complex is the kettlebell snatch. It was not easy to get the correct technique as it's very easy to hurt your wrists whilst doing this movement. I also think I could bend my knees a little bit less and hinge at the hips a bit more, but I'm working on it as I improve my technique. I would definitely say this is one of the harder movements, but also one of the ones I look forward to as it's a good feeling being able to take on the challenge. Again, it's 5x2, and after the whole complex, even after 1 round, you will definitely have a sweat going. But we're not done there. I like to superset this complex with some pull-ups. Now I didn't have my usual belt with me, which is annoying, but this is a prime example of working with what you got and making the most of it. If life gives you lemons and all that. This was a strap used for the rings and it got the job done. Slightly a bit more uncomfortable, but it was firmable. I just go to failure on these and all of that together is 1 round. I do between 3 to 5 rounds. 3 rounds would usually be if I'm doing something in my gym session after, or 5 rounds if that's the whole workout. Either or, it's going to have you sweating and you'll definitely feel that you've gotten in a great workout. Recently, I've been recovering from an Achilles injury that I picked up in football, so towards the end of my sessions, I do a bit of plyometric work with the aim of getting back to full fitness. The exercises that I'm doing are quite painful to start off with, but once I get a few reps in, the pain gets better. When I first picked up the injury, I was doing a lot of resting, but it didn't really improve, so I did some research and I've started these PLYOS to get the tendon back to where it was. All it is some small jumps onto a box or a stair, then landing and making sure you control the landing. And the second exercise is some small pogo hops. First I was doing it in place, then side to side. This brought me to the end of my session. It took me about an hour, but it was a really good session, man. I'm happy I went. Had to just try get a video out for you guys. Yeah, that was my gym session. It was a pretty light one, to be fair. Just got in some kettlebell work, did my kettlebell complex, and did some rehab work for my Achilles. Being injured for a while now, to be fair, but you know, we just have to do the best we can to get back to full fitness and better and sharper than I was before. Yeah, it's feeling all right. Quite painful when I am actually doing the exercises, but afterwards it does feel stronger. So that's how I know the exercises are working, and we just gotta keep going. That's how it is in life, you know. There's setbacks, always minor or major, but you know, you just gotta keep pushing, just keep jogging. Every day 1%, just get 1% better. That's a motto that I like to follow, you know. Just keep getting 1% better every day, and you know, by 100 days you'll be 100% better. So yeah, man, just every day pushing. I'm trying to, you know, get back into posting more consistently. Hopefully, you know, 2026 is a big year, so I'm trying to start before the year starts, so I can go into the year with a pattern established and some good content for you guys. You know, this one won't be the best, but you know, one thing I'm trying to get better at is putting something out, whether it's not perfect. It might not be perfect, I should say, but you know, something's better than nothing. And you know, there's always something in the imperfections. You know, you never know what you might stumble on. So yeah, hopefully this one went well and you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back better. We'll be back sooner, and you know, we'll keep pushing, you know. Yeah, I've been sitting on a video for quite a while now. There's a couple of videos in the drafts that haven't come out, but I'm trying to get them done for you guys. So I just did this one in the meantime, so there's something out there, and yeah, you know, you guys can see what I'm doing in the meantime, because I am still working, still pushing, you know. So this is a message to you guys. If you take anything from this, is, you know, whatever you do, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just get the work done. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. Love.